On the news, National Assembly grants autonomy to all local governments in Nigeria. Once again, President Buhari asks National Assembly to amend Electoral Act. And APC assures of no plans to shift convention date. We're glad to have you join us in News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. A majority of legislators on Tuesday granted financial and administrative autonomy to all the local governments across Nigeria. The National Assembly had voted electronically on 68 constitution amendment bills at their plenary. Also, both chambers of the National Assembly during voted in favor of financial independence of state houses of assembly and state judiciary. However, the legislators, both at the Senate and the House of Reps, did not vote in favor of an act to provide for the procedure for passing a constitution alteration bill where the president withholds assent. Well, joining me to discuss this further is Second Vice President, Nigerian Bar Association, Monday Ubani. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the National Assembly has voted on a number of amendments in the 1999 Constitution. What do you make of the decision to give autonomy to the local government, and how much of an impact will this have on the quality of governance in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much for this all-important question. And I want to say this, congratulations to Nigerians for this cheering news about the autonomy of the local government. Some of us have been clamoring for local government autonomy, both administratively and financial, all these years, because we have not seen any meaningful development at the local government level. I am from a local government. I'm from Ikuano in Abia State. I tell you this, since 1999 to date, there is no single thing you can call development in that local government, as a result of the fact that local government is regarded as an appendage of the state. The monies that are being given every month as allocation for the local government are being tampered with by the governors. And this is happening across the entire country. It's not only in Abia State, all over the country. The governors tamper with the money that's supposed to go to local government for development at the local government level. And you know that issue of security is local. The moment they don't have money to secure the local government, it means that the entire Nigeria is clearly unsafe, and we are seeing it, and we are paying heavily for it. So it is important that that autonomy is given to local government. So I'm so happy. And I join other Nigerians to really congratulate the members of the House, for doing this. And I know that as time goes on, there are some other things that will be taken care of in terms of restructuring Nigeria. And this is one of the first steps. But having a law, having a legal framework without enforcement, without implementation is null and void. We will not allow a situation where the local government fund will still go to the state government, by virtue of the fact that they do not allow elections to take place. So the issue of autonomy must be total. We must also insist that they must conduct election into all the local government offices. That is where it's supposed to be, because the law provides for it in Section 7. It is guaranteed. So we must insist on that, so that they cannot have appendages they will be using to siphon the money that is meant for local government. So this is a first step. And I say congratulations to all of us for actually advancing this argument and advocacy all this time, which has actually paid off.
Now let's talk about financial independence of state houses of assembly and state judiciary, which the National Assembly has voted in favor of. How will this play out, taking into consideration the Supreme Court's nullification of Executive Order 10?
Well, I think that what the Supreme Court did with the nullification of Order 10 was that they felt that the federal government should not interfere unduly with the issue of the state, because in a federal system of government, the federating units are quite independent. And so that you can't use any order in order to probably siphon or take the money that's supposed to go to the state by virtue of the fact that you felt that they have not complied with the provisions of the Constitution. That is my understanding of what nullification of that Order 10 met. But the issue of autonomy of local government, I mean, of a state House of Assembly and that of the judiciary has always been in the lips of everyone, including the Supreme Court justices, including the president, including even the state governors. It's only few governors that are actually against issue of autonomy for the other arms of government. So how do we achieve that? Is to look at the provisions of the Constitution, where it has made provision so that we do not in any way offend the provision, all in a bid to comply with another section. So that is what I understand that has taken place. So the autonomy is guaranteed as long as there is no offense to any provisions of the Constitution. I mean, autonomy of the State House of Assembly is guaranteed. Autonomy of the state judiciary is guaranteed. That of the federal is guaranteed as long as there is no offense committed in the bid to enforce this autonomy that has actually been passed through the constitutional amendment. That is what I understand has happened. So it's something that it has not in any way conflicted with any nullification of Order 10. Order 10 was actually nullified because of the undue interference by that order on the autonomy of the federating unit, which I think the Constitution itself has always made a provision that there should be an independence of that arms of government without any violation of the provisions of the Constitution.
Well, indeed, Monday Obani, second Vice President, Nigerian Bar Association, thank you very much for your contribution. President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the Senate to amend the newly signed Electoral Act 2022. The President, in a letter addressed to the Senate, Hamad Lawan, and read at the plenary, asked the Federal Parliament to consider the outright deletion of the Section 84, which has to do with the resignation of political appointees before party primaries. The President explained that the provision amounted to the disenfranchisement of political appointees.
Section 84, subsection 12 of the Act constitutes a disenfranchisement of serving political office holders from voting or being voted for at conventions or congresses of any political party for the purpose of nomination of candidates for any election in cases where it holds earlier than 30 days to the election. Section 84, subsection 12 of the Act provides as follows. No political appointee at any level shall be voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of the nomination of candidates for any election. End of quote. This provision has introduced qualification and disqualification criteria that is ultra-vires the Constitution by way of importing blanket restriction and disqualification to serving political office holders of which they are constitutionally accorded protection. Arising from the foregoing, I request the National Assembly to consider immediate amendments that will bring the Act in conformity with the Constitution by way of deleting Section 84, subsection 12 accordingly.
Well, still on legal matters, the Nigerian Association Section on Public Interest and Development, NBA SPDEL, has organized its town hall meeting in Lagos to deliberate on the role of lawyers in securing the socio-economic rights of Nigerians. Speaking on the justiciability of the Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution, stakeholders sought practical measures to adopt in order to hold the government accountable for failure to fulfill their part of the social contracts. Our correspondent, Mr. Ladigun, tells us more in this report.
Ensuring the socio-economic rights of Nigerians as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution has always hung in the balance. This is the reason for this hybrid event, put together to discuss the role of lawyers in making sure that public office holders keep campaign promises and act on the provisions of the Constitution. Speakers at the event say that the law has a role to play in the protection of human rights and entitlements.
These provisions, I don't want to elevate them to say they are rights, because when you say they are rights, they are mandatory. The way the Constitution has put it as obligations of government and not mandatory provisions of government. So, and the same Constitution that says the government is obliged to provide these things says they are not justiciable.
There are laws made pursuant to Chapter 2, those laws can be enforced in our courts. African Charter on Human and People's Rights and all international human rights instruments can be applied in our court.
The 1999 Constitution under Chapter 2, with the heading Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principle of State Policy, made elaborate provision for those things that make life worth living: education, health, employment, security, and welfare of the citizens. These, no doubt, should be the focus and form the fulcrum for every government.
Outright refusal of the political class to obey court orders issued in favor of citizens is a regular occurrence. These lawyers believe that the time has come for the courts to place the interest of the masses as a major priority as opposed to what is presently obtainable. They stress the importance of taking the provisions of the Constitution beyond just words on paper, adding that the government must be held accountable in the protection of the said rights.
The pragmatic way to go is to make sure that our elected representatives, our elected executives are made to abide by their oath of office. They are made to abide by the Constitution, because the Constitution says that every organ of government, everybody is supposed to apply Chapter 2 in governance.
The paradox has always remained that these promises are not justiciable, not enforceable. We really can't hold those who make those promises to account. This is not the first time we're having this conversation to say, how do we ensure that the social contract is enforceable? How do we ensure? And we're spending quite a bit of time talking to those on the judiciary, our judges and our justices. And we're asking them, can we be a little bit more inventive in the way we interpret these provisions of the Constitution? And we're having really, really interesting conversations.
As the 2023 general elections draw near, stakeholders stress that possible changes to the current structure must be explored, hence the need to leverage on the windows within the present framework and ensure the enforceability of laws under Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution. Simisola Adigun, TV360, Lagos.
To end all forms of insecurity across the country, security agencies will need the support of Nigerians. This is according to President Muhammadu Buhari during his address at the National Security Seminar organized by Alumni Association of the National Defense College in Abuja. While extolling the courage and bravery displayed by security agencies and service chiefs in promoting peace and order, President Buhari urged Nigerians to get more interested in working with security agencies to tackle the menace facing the country. The president added that more could be achieved in bringing law and order to various parts of the country with the full cooperation of citizens.
Security is not just a military concern, but a challenge for all Nigerians. No matter the amount of money invested in military operations, without the support of the people, display of patriotism and preparedness for everyone to be ready to take ownership of securing our environment, success will be limited. Consequently, we must look beyond the military and the security agencies for enduring solutions to the security challenges we are facing. I am proud of the achievements of the security agencies in dealing with issues of terrorism, insurgency, banditry, and the so-called unknown gunmen in the northwest and other parts of the country. These issues and challenges are being professionally handled by the armed forces and other security agencies with improved intelligence operations and effective collaboration in the armed forces and other agencies.
And now to politics. Governors of the All Progressives Congress, APC, have reassured that there is no plan to move the party's national convention from its scheduled date of March 26. This comes despite the tight time frame provided by the timetable of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), just released for next year's general elections, while feeding questions from correspondents after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. The chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum and Governor of Kebbi State, Atiku Bagudu, assured that the party will maintain the March date for the exercise.
Last week, we were in this hall, about 20 APC governors, and this question came up, and we clearly said we came to discuss the National Convention, which is slated for March 26, and are working hard to ensure that on March 26, we have our convention and elect our national officers, and that remains the case. If by altercation people are talking about differences of opinion before a decision is arrived at, then maybe that is what people can. But as a body, the 22 governors of APC are united behind the party and behind the Mr. President.
I'll take a break here, but still to come, Burkina Faso junta approves 3-year transition plan. Details of this story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. A majority of legislators on Tuesday granted financial and administrative autonomy to all the local governments across Nigeria. Also, both chambers of the National Assembly, during voting on the Constitution Amendment, voted in favor of financial independence of state houses of assembly and the state judiciary. We also told you that President Muhammadu Buhari has called for support in the nation's fight against all forms of criminality. The president made this known during his address at the National Security Seminar organized by Alumni Association of the National Defense College in Abuja, while extolling the courage and bravery displayed by security agencies and service chiefs in promoting peace and order. President Buhari also urged Nigerians to get more interested in working with security agencies to tackle the menace facing the country. But in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has reported 35 new cases of COVID-19 in 7 states and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. A breakdown of the infections reported by the NCDC shows that Rivers State topped the chart with 14 cases, while Imo and Lagos recorded 6 and 4 cases respectively. No COVID fatality was recorded on Monday, leaving the death rate at 3,142. While following the new infections recorded on Monday, Nigeria now has a total of 254,560 COVID infections. The head of the Hong Kong's Public Doctors Association says facilities for storing dead bodies at hospitals and public mortuaries are at maximum capacity owing to the surge in COVID-19 fatalities. Ling also reviewed that the number of patients dying from COVID-19 or serious complications triggered by the cold weather sharply increased over the past 2 weeks, putting immense pressure on the mortuary service in public hospitals. Hong Kong has sought the assistance of China to help tackle its high record of COVID cases and deaths, as the country recorded 34,466 new coronavirus infections and 87 deaths on Monday. I'll take a break now and return with business stories. To stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Simi Saladigo now joins us for more stories in business and stock market review. Over to you, Simi.
Thank you, Folashade. Welcome to business. The Ministry of Power has disclosed that some sections in the new Electricity Bill 2022 will dilute the powers of the ministry to effectively supervise agencies under it. Minister of Power Abubakar Liu raised the concern of the ministry on Monday at a public hearing on the proposed Electricity Bill 2022, organized by the Senate Committee on Power. Our correspondent Mojisola tells us more in this report.
Gathered in this hall are key stakeholders in Nigeria's power sector and members of the Senate Committee on Power. They are here at this public hearing to discuss and make recommendations on the proposed Electricity Bill 2022, which is aimed at revamping the country's epileptic power supply. Chairman of the committee and sponsor of the bill, Senator Gabriel Suswam, explained that if the proposed legislation is passed into law, it will drive and promote investors' confidence and ensure a sustainable power sector.
This bill, when passed, will usher in the legal framework to stimulate the deployment of relevant regulatory and policy measures that will accelerate growth in power generation capacity.
There are concerns, however, that the bill limits the powers of the state to make laws for electricity between their own jurisdiction. The Minister of Power, Aliyu Abubakar, who was also at the hearing, says the bill waters down the powers of the minister to coordinate and supervise the sector.
In the bill, these powers appear to be severely diluted, as they are in several areas subject to prior consultation with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NAC. Section 5.1b, Section 5.1c, Section 5.1g, and Section 5.2. Any such limitation on the power of the minister has the potential to hinder efficient coordination of the ministry and its agencies, impede the minister's ability for accountability as it hinders seamless reporting to the president.
Other components of the bill include the establishment of a tribunal to enhance quick resolution of disputes in the electricity industry, strengthening sanctions against energy theft, and cross-subsidy for electricity payments.
Responsibility without sufficient powers is a challenge for the Commission, and therefore we would want to prevail on the Senate to ensure that the electricity bill clearly empowers the Commission to enforce its regulations and orders, especially on matters relating to corporate governance, business continuity, safety in the industry, and similar matters.
Meanwhile, governors of the 36 states of the Federation under the aegis of the Nigeria's Governors Forum have strongly rejected the bill, saying it is against the interest of the states and it seeks to re-establish a centrally controlled electricity sector. Mojisola Matomi, TV360 News.
We'll take a short break and be back with Stock Market Report. On the first day in March, investors gained 47.53 billion naira, inching up 0.19% amid negative market breadth. At the close of today's trading, a total of 3 million volume of shares valued at 7.8 billion naira were traded in 6,045 deals. 118 equities participated in trading, ending with 15 gainers and 34 losers. Seplat led the gainers group, followed by Royal Exchange, both earning 947 naira 30 kobo. On the losing side, Curtis came out last, closely followed by Learn Africa, both equities parting with 4 naira 78 kobo. Now, benchmark all share index closed at 47,482 basis points, while current market capitalization stands at 25.6 trillion naira. Our select global stocks, UK's FTSE and US Dow Jones on Tuesday end in the red, leaving only Japan's Nikkei in the gainers territory. Investors in London and the US seem to have lost their enthusiasm enthusiasm for the market as fighting continues between Russia and Ukraine. And so far it has not returned, hence the 1.72% and 1.97% decline respectively. Now Japan's equities were higher to close at 1.20% thanks to gains in the paper and pulp, railway and bus and real estate sectors, which propelled shares higher. Now that's all on our stock market report. Back to you, Folashade.
Well, many thanks, Simi. And now the foreign scene. Following the military coup a month ago, Burkina Faso's new military leader, Paul Henri Damiba, has signed a transitional charter which will allow him to stay in power for 3 years. Damiba signed a charter which was drawn up by a military-appointed commission and had been discussed by a national forum in Ouagadougou, and will not allow the new transitional leader to stand in elections scheduled for 2025. The charter specifies that one of the main missions of the transition is to fight against terrorism and restore the integrity of the national territory. The junta seized power in a general coup against President Roch Kabore, blaming him for failing to contain surging violence by Islamist militants. But it's now time for Entertainment Reporter News Now.
Celebrity fashion stylist Toyin Lawani has marked the much-anticipated 40th birthday with dazzling photos of herself. Sharing the pictures on her Instagram page, the fashion mogul informed her fans that she won't be throwing a party. The self-acclaimed king of fashion noted that she was going to focus on her family and crafts this year, as she promised to throw a party next year. In her birthday post, the mother of three also revealed that she has been in the fashion business for 16 years and had been an entrepreneur for 24 years. Charles Obi Emery's 2021 short film Buried has joined the increasing list of titles premiering on Amazon Prime Video following the streamer's entry into Nollywood. The film follows the story of 33-year-old Ekanem, who returns home after long years of estrangement from his family to perform the funeral rites of his late brother, but first he must deal with the wrath of his father and sister, who never want to see him again. According to Charles, who doubles as the film's writer, Buried based on true events inspired by the near-death experience of his brother following an overdose. For Amazon, the short film, which is currently streaming, joins an impressive number of new licensing deals with major studios including Inkblot and Ant Hill. That is all that we have for you in the entertainment segment of News Now.
And now to sports. The Nigeria Football Federation has mourned the death of sports journalism titan and founder of Complete Sports, Sonny Ojagbase, who passed on during the weekend in the United States of America. President of the NFF and FIFA Council member Amaju Pinnick, in a press statement, described the death of the sports journalist as shocking, adding that the deceased carved a bold niche for himself in the profession. A statement signed by his son, Julius, confirms that the late sports journalist passed away in Atlanta, USA, after a brief illness at the age of 71 years. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.